Chancie W. Munson. My bank's PFC. My serial number is 2452667, I think. I don't know.
Okay, thanks. That looks pretty good. It's the middle.
Okay.
So that's okay. Oops.
Whoops. We got your, looks like we've got your voice working real good. I'm gonna go take a seat.
Okay.
And while you start, I'll just double check and make sure
Okay.
everything's okay.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you, were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was drafted once and turned down on account I didn't pass the test. You know how that went. And then the second time, during the end of the war, I was drafted then.
Okay. And were you living in Fort Madison at the time?
No, I was living in Metamora at the time.
Okay. So once you were drafted, where did you go?
I beg your pardon. I was living in Peoria.
Okay. And then once you were drafted, did you go to boot camp?
Yeah. Camp Rucker, Alabama.
Okay. How long were you there for?
Oh, I must have been there at least 3 months.
What was that like?
That was kind of watching what she was doing, because there was a fellow in my outfit, and we were in the same outfit, and he got shot in the head, and they killed him right there in the camp. And the sergeant got up and said, "See what happens to you when you goof off?" And they said, "If you goof off, you must be next." But the war was going on then, and they were doing that for their own protection.
So then after boot camp, where did you go? Where did you go after boot camp?
After boot camp, I went to, I didn't put too much time in after boot camp. I went to different spots around the country. I went to Oregon for 3 or 4 weeks. Then I dropped down to Washington, D.C. for a couple, 3 weeks. Then I shipped out.
And it says something about you going to Japan?
Yeah. We went to Japan on the USS John R.M. Blatchford was the ship. I remember the ship. I don't remember the date. And I was seasick for 21 days. I was a seasick puppy. Boy, I tell you. And I was sure glad to get off that ocean, you wouldn't believe. And from there on, we went to all over Japan. We landed at Wakayama, then we went to Nagoya, and we went to Tokyo, and then we went to Yokohama. We went to all them places.
What did you do over there?
I was an ambulance driver, and that was only because the 8th Army pulled them in. They pulled them. The 6th Army pulled them in, and they left an opening for us guys. And they pulled the Army. The men, whether they had replacements or not, because the war was over and they wanted to get them back home. And I never did get to see any combat in the Army in the ambulance field outside of driving the soldiers back and forth. I didn't get into the Japanese driving my ambulance or nothing.
Did you like driving the ambulance?
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. We just, it was more of it was more of a taxi service than anything for the Army.
Okay, and so how long were you over there total?
How long?
How long were you over there?
18 months. Subtracting I was 18 months in the Army.
Okay, and how was it when you...
I was over there a year and something.
Okay. How was it when you came back?
That was the happy part of the part, because we went right to Chicago discharge and right on out and on home.
So can you tell me a little bit more about boot camp? Because that sounded interesting.
Boot camp was kind of rough because we were taking training that you'd take if you was in the combat as it went. They didn't pull any punches. We took combat training. And if they say we carried a gun on M1 and we slept nights, and we worried about the days we were going through. And it was rough from the respect that the boot camp was rough in itself, because, like I say, that guy got killed and that scared us all, because we couldn't believe it that happened in the service of the Army. We had to wake up and get with it, because we knew that that's what they played for keeps. But that wasn't an Army incident. It was an Army incident rather than combat or anything. It was an accident. See, he was up on the top of the hill we were down below the hill a little ways. I was at the gunner, I was a second-class gunner of the direction of the camp, of the crew, and I was down below him, and they fired over my head and hit him. They naturally fired low when they were down below in the bottom. They're firing uphill, and they're naturally going to fire low, and they aimed high and hit low. And that's what happened to him.
So being in that situation, did you make friends? Did you make friends at boot camp and overseas?
Oh, yes, we had friends. We yapped back and forth, but I don't remember any of them now. I don't remember any of them in overseas either. The only ones I do remember is a guy from Peoria, and I knew him before I come in. And it was quite a deal because it was a service and that you never forget.
Do you have any other specific memories that really stand out to you?
That guy getting shot stood up to me more than any of them.
I bet.
And then the ones on the seasickness on the ocean was another one. Boy, I was sick puppy. Oh boy. 21 days.
Wow.
USS General R.M. Blatchford.
How old were you at that time?
I was, I must have been about 20, 25. I must have been about 25.
Did you keep in touch with your family?
I was married at that time, and we had one boy when I went in the service. And she wrote me a letter almost every day. And we had correspondence right and forth all the time.
So you were able to write back to her too?
Yeah. She'd write me a letter, I'd write her a letter. Yeah, they were very, very good that way.
Was it really hard to be away from them?
It was terribly hard on account of I was gone away from that boy. And I was working at Pittsburgh Glass Company as a truck driver. And I had to go to the Army. Then when I got back, I got my job back into the Army, into the Teamsters.
So you were a truck driver here, and then an ambulance driver over there, and then a truck driver again? So you kind of stayed in the same... So was there anything else that you did over there? You had some rough nights. Did you guys entertain yourselves?
Oh, not so much. I don't remember too much entertainment we had. It was more like camp is here. If we had any, it was a movie or something for all of us to go watch.
When you were driving the ambulance, did you see some bad injuries and casualties?
No, I didn't run into any Japanese experience of going to picking up the Japs or anything. In fact, I didn't have nobody except the ambulance going back and forth as a taxi. And that scares you when you say ambulance driver, you know. That's, you think that's rough. You'd be right out there in the combat zone, but it was 697 Motor Ambulance Company. I remember that. And it was a whole company of ambulance drivers. And they were some good guys in there. And when they pulled rank, when they pulled it, they let some of them guys go clear to first sergeant. Because when they pull a first sergeant, they push a first sergeant back. And that's about all I know about it.
Is there anything else? Can you remember the food or anything there?
The food was, well, I hate rice. I don't want no rice, that's for sure. And it was chicken and we wondered why we had so much chicken. Broke in the storeroom of the coffee shop and found out it was boxed up in 1939. That's how fresh our chicken was. And there wasn't nothing we could do about it. We had to just take it and that's it. But that's the way it went with the food. And it was good. It was good. But it was an experience that you never forget.
So having that experience, did it affect your life at all after that?
Well, driving a truck, I went back to Pittsburgh driving a truck, went in the Union. I was in the Union before I left. And I went to driving that truck again. And I drove it for about 6 or 7 years. And I got into apprentice glazer. And I've been an apprentice, I've been a glazer for 50-some years. And that's about all I can tell you. I had 50-some years glazing. That's a good trade. I loved that.
That's great. So did you just have one son then?
One son. He comes about every 2 weeks.
To come visit you here?
He comes down here. He comes down from Metamora. That's between uh, Peoria and it's I forget the name of that little town. Out of Peoria. That this is town is named from, but he's got an acre of ground out there, and he's got cars and when I come into the medics here, the camp here, I had a brick home. I've got a brick home, and I've given my car. I had an 65 El Camino. I give that to my grandson, and I had a Ford 89, and he's got it yet, and he drives it back and forth up here. But I hate to miss that stuff. That was the best thing I had for fun. Then I had a brick home, and I lost my wife in '85. She died, so you know about where I stood. But I had a 85 El Camino, 65 El Camino, and 85, 89, 99, 98.
And when did you come here?
I'm going on 2 years here.
So do you like it here? Do you guys share stories at all? Does everyone here share stories at all?
Yeah, I had seemed like all I've had since I've been here is accidents. I had a tooth fall out. It was broke right in half, and then the other half of it was in my gum, and I had to have that taken out. And that was, I've got trouble with it now. It's not put in yet. The dentist is going to put it in when they're charging me $65 for the tooth. And they're going to put the tooth in as soon as I get them to $65. And they're going to put it in I got the brace in here in my mouth now. And it's a regular brace of my other tooth that I had fall out. And I had a lot of trouble.
Well, I really appreciate you doing this interview. I really appreciate you coming to talk to me.
Yeah,
It was so great meeting you.
yeah,
And thank you for your service to our country, too.
thank you.
Trophy to-
Okay. Why don't you get the camera?
Okay.
Chancie, I wanted to shake your hand. Thank you, sir. That was a good interview.
Don't mention it.